Hello and welcome to Cleveland Classic Cinema. Tonight's film is 1944's One Body Too Many, directed by Frank McDonald. The Old Dark House is a mystery trope that's been around ever since the invention of narrative movies. It's believed that the first one was D.W. Griffith's One Exciting Night, made in 1922, but it probably goes even further back than that with stage productions of stories like The Cat and the Canary and the Bat, which were later adapted into films. The usual Old Dark House story involves the sudden, sometimes unexplained death of a rich old guy and his various descendants that gather for the reading of the will in a spooky mansion he lived in. Inevitably, either someone, usually the lawyer executing the will, gets murdered, or there's a storm that washes out the bridge that leads to the mansion and everyone has to stay there. The characters are most often the worthless son and his gold-digging wife, the shifty business partner, the suspicious servants who, even though they are prime suspects, have worked for the dead guy since before there was hair, the way too young wife mistress of the dead guy, an innocent niece who's invariably single, a wisecracking reporter or detective, and on and on. The innocent niece is always a prime target and by the end of the picture falls in love with the reporter or the detective after the mystery is solved and the murder or murderers captured. There are plots where the heirs have to stay in the house for a night or a week or a month. There are ones that take place on an inaccessible island or a mountaintop or in the middle of a desert. Inevitably, the house is incredibly hard or impossible to leave until outside help comes, if it ever comes at all. The reading of the will is a standard in these films as well, and this is where you get the background of the various characters and find out just what kind of chicanery they've been up to prior to this. Some of them, like 1939's The Cat and the Canary, are comedies where the wisecracking reporter is replaced by someone like, in this instance, Bob Hope, who cracks wise through the whole thing, but not so deep down is hilariously cowardly, only showing his fake bravado when he's sure he's not in any danger. One Body Too Many is in that tradition. An insurance salesman gets an appointment with an eccentric millionaire and plans to sell him a life insurance policy. But when he gets there, he discovers that said millionaire is already dead. He's mistaken for a detective hired to guard the body, and we go from there. The difference here is that the guy is scared out of his mind to begin with and wants nothing more than to go home and sleep in his own bed. The preamble of the will is rather innovative in that it decrees that the heirs will get exactly what's coming to them. The inheritance could be as much as $500,000 or as small as $1.50. The dead guy is heavily into astrology and states that his body should be interred in a glass dome vault so he will be forever under the stars. The heirs are to stay at the house until the body is in the vault, and if it is not interred as stated, the distribution of the money will be reversed and the deserving will get the least and the undeserving will get the most. This doesn't make much sense, as it just about guarantees that the undeserving will see to it that the others don't get what they have coming to them. But it's a twist on the usual plot, so what the hell. There have been a lot of takeoffs on this kind of plot. Everyone from Laurel and Hardy to the Three Stooges have poked fun at it. And I always enjoyed these pokes at the genre. The first thing I thought of when I was watching this was the butler in If a Body Meets a Body named Jerkington. One of the things I find interesting about this film is that it stars Jack Haley. The only movie I ever remember seeing Jack Haley in is the one that everyone knows him from, The Wizard of Oz. He's quite good in this film, hooking up with a nice niece and deciding to stay to make sure she survives the night after she's nearly hit by a falling stone. He, of course, comes to regret the decision, but I don't think it's a spoiler to tell you that everything turns out okay in the end. Jack Haley was born John Joseph Haley Jr. on August 10, 1897 in Boston, Massachusetts. A vaudeville and stage actor, his first film appearance was as a radio announcer in 1927's Broadway Madness. He appeared in a number of shorts after that, but didn't really become a name until he appeared as the Tin Man in 1939's The Wizard of Oz. He wasn't the first choice for the character, however. Buddy Ebsen had been cast to play the Tin Man and had gotten as far as costume tests when he was forced to drop out due to an allergic reaction to the aluminum powder used in the makeup. Ebsen had originally been cast as a Scarecrow while Ray Bolger was going to play the Tin Man, but the role assignments were switched at the last minute. Ebsen complained of having breathing problems ever since, essaying the role, but he outlived all the other cast members nonetheless. Although Haley appeared in nearly 60 movies and TV programs, he is best remembered as the Tin Man. Of his appearance in the movie, he recalled, "It was awful. You couldn't have fun. I had to drag myself to work." Jack Haley died of a heart attack on June 6, 1979 in Los Angeles, California. Gene Parker was born Lois May Green on August 11, 1915 in Deer Lodge, Montana. A talented gymnast and dancer, she was adopted during the Depression and later won a poster contest, and through this won a contract with MGM. She appeared in 82 movies and TV shows, including 1933's Little Women, 1935's The Ghost Goes West, and 1933's bizarre Gabriel Over the White House. After spending World War II traveling across the country entertaining injured servicemen, she appeared on Broadway in Burleycue with Bert Lahr and Born Yesterday with her husband, actor Robert Lowry. Gene Parker died of a stroke on November 30, 2005 in Woodland Hills, California. Lyle Talbot was born Lyle Henderson on February 8, 1902 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Talbot joined a traveling tent show right out of high school, becoming an assistant to the hypnotist magician, eventually working his way up to being a magician himself before leaving the tent show circuit and acting in stock theater companies. He became a leading man and eventually went to Hollywood in 1931, getting there at the advent of sound. His baritone voice did him well in the talkies, and he enjoyed a long and varied career, appearing in a number of A pictures as well as many B and lower class productions, including a few for Ed Wood, Jr. While working in Warner Brothers, he and his close friend James Cagney founded the Screen Actors Guild in reaction to the horrendous working conditions at the studio. 12-hour or longer days, 6 days a week was the norm. And actually, it still is. Even today, cinematographer Haskell Wexler and others are fighting to make 12 on, 12 off a standard, since a number of crew members have been killed when they fell asleep while driving home after 15 or 16-hour days. Talbot appeared as Commissioner Gordon in the 1949 Batman serial Batman and Robin, and also appeared as Lex Luthor in 1950's Atom Man vs. Superman. He then moved into television and thrived there, appearing as a regular on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, Love That Bob, and made many guest appearances on other shows in addition to appearing on stage in plays such as The Odd Couple and Separate Rooms. Lyle Talbot died of natural causes at the age of 94 in his San Francisco home on March 3, 1996. One Body Too Many it's all right. It's not the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it's certainly not the worst. It's amusing and entertaining, and that's really all it needs to be. So right now, sit back, relax, and enjoy One Body Too Many, right here on Cleveland Classics Cinema.